Hi, I'm Remy. I'm a singer, songwriter, and producer. I've been producing for about 8 years now. I've been making music since like 2013, and I've been obsessed with making pop music for as long as I can remember. That obsession led me to go to music school for both songwriting and producing. The way that I learned the most about how to make music and how to make pop music specifically was just from making it. It wasn't anything I learned in music school. I mean, that stuff helped, obviously, but both in the case of songwriting and production, I found them to be very technical, which is useful. You need to learn how to use the DAW, and music theory doesn't hurt to understand. But the thing that really leveled up my ability to make a good pop song was neither of those things. And in this video, I wanted to touch on 4 what I've dubbed the pillars of pop that I've identified as being like key things that when I focus on them, I come out of it with a really great pop song. They speak more to what I think is truly the task of the producer. It's not knowing how to use the DAW, at least nowadays it's not. It's not wiring the mic and applying a compressor. That's sound engineer stuff. As a producer, I think your main job is to just put together a harmonious track. Layer in elements that are going to sound balanced and big and exciting and enticing to the listener. These 4 concepts are the guiding light to getting that to happen. Now, something to know is this video is an edited down version of a much longer video. So I've set out to every week make a song and make a video in which I like break down that track. The last song that I made, I structured the video around these 4 pillars because I kept noticing that in every single video I was talking about them. Instead of just bringing them up constantly, I figured I would just use the song as like a guide to understand how those 4 pillars can be applied. This is a cut down version. If you do want the full version, click I think in the description and maybe around here. But if you're not interested in that, stick around. And we'll get into these 4 pillars. The 2 things that you kind of always have at odds when you're making pop music is I want to grow the track, I want it to evolve forward, I want it to feel bigger, and I don't want to stuff it, I don't want it to feel overwhelming, I don't want it to feel messy. And I think all of these pillars kind of work towards helping that. Pillar number 1, textural shifts drive it forward. The best pop songs feel like this completely realized story with like a beginning and a middle and an end, and textural shifts are the plot basically. What do I mean by textural shifts? Kind of any new component that gets added or taken away. I would kind of define the texture as like how the frequency spectrum is being taken up. You can have the whole thing kind of very evenly filled out. You could have like a lot of like bulk in the bass and up top, but not a lot in the middle. Different frequency pockets can be occupied in different ways. And as the song goes on, the listener wants it to change how you're occupying that frequency spectrum. When these subtle changes come in that create like a shift in the texture, that is the bread and butter of we're going somewhere. And I think it's important that these textural shifts happen a little more often than you think they need to. There's no hard and fast rule. I'm not going to sit here and tell you like every 8 bars or whatever. That being said, every 8 bars is a good place to start. Just check in with yourself, you know, just like listen to it, and every 4 bars, ask yourself if you feel like you've lost interest. And if you have, it might be time for something to change, and it doesn't have to be big. The big changes we all know. We all know that there's a verse and we all know that there's a chorus, but the subtle ones are what really makes it feel like finessed. And it just breathes like some fresh air, kind of inject some energy into it partway through. Here we have an example of a much more subtle textural shift halfway through the chorus. So here we have this synth that's mimicking the bass line just like a couple octaves higher. And then it comes down to do an octave below what it was doing. It makes it feel a little bit less big and bombastic, but you're still like maintaining the essence of the chorus. And it just breathes like some fresh air into like halfway through. It's a long chorus, you know? So you need something to kind of inject some energy into it partway through.
Think about me like I think about you. Guess not, guess not, guess not. Do you ever fantasize about a comeback verse too? Why not me, maybe? Walk into the same bar, look what habit, I look good. Got too reminiscent about the sex on your Tacoma's hood. Take me back to yours and say that I don't think we should, but.
So pillar number 2, transitions, the best transitions are the ones you see coming. I talk about it every single video, and I will not get tired of talking about it. Transitions are like the most important thing. They're the salt. They're the salt on your production. If you don't care for and nurture the transitions from section to section, you're cooking with no salt. Seriously, until I add transitions into my tracks, they feel like demos. It feels like a demo before I add the transitions, and it feels like a song when I do. Transitions are so important. It'll basically be like a transition for every section change. Transitions are all about payoff, right? Like they are more exciting when you know that they're gonna happen. Like think about when you go to a concert, the excitement you feel when you like know that the chorus of the song that everybody knows is gonna come and everyone's gonna sing it together. That anticipation, that's what you should be feeling with like a really big dramatic transition. This one is really straightforward, but I think one of the most effective. Literally just get rid of the drums. I do it on almost every song. It's really just like the perfect little silence in the context of sound. Silence can be like so loud. Just nixing these drums a little bit before and you're like, it's about to go down. And then when the chorus comes, you're like, oh, it's going down. Obviously there's like a crash on the downbeat. So it's like, oh my God, it's gonna go down. And then, whoa, it really went down. We have a crash and everything's happening. Here is from pre-chorus into chorus.
The sense of stuck inside your basement. Is there my bra in your basement? Do you ever think about me like I think about you?
That's enough of pillar number 2. On to pillar number 3, my personal favorite, the one I deem perhaps most important and most underrated. Don't stack it up, spread it out. If you're gonna introduce a new element into the track to make it feel bigger, to make it grow, it's not just about stacking it on top of whatever was there before. It's about making sure you spread it out versus what you had previously. And I know you're wondering, spread out across what? 2 things, my friends: frequency and time. So if I'm introducing a new element, it can either occupy a new frequency pocket that didn't exist previously. For example, if I didn't have hi-hats, now I can add hi-hats. And if I didn't have hi-hats, I probably didn't have anything occupying this super high sizzle range of this frequency spectrum. Hi-hats are kind of the only thing that do that for the most part. If there wasn't a bass line before, I can introduce a bass line. Or time, adding something in silence where nothing was occupying that space. For example, we add hi-hat hits where there were previously no hi-hat hits. There, we added something that was spread out across time, not necessarily frequency. It was the same frequency range that was already being occupied by the exact same hi-hats, but these new hits are in little pockets that were not being taken up by the hi-hats before. So that's going to create a little more of a sense of fullness, or ideally both together. So caring for where things are introduced, making sure that they're not taking up a space that was already being taken up, is going to make it so that those things that you add actually drive a sense of fullness and not just messiness. Because if you're adding things where there was already things, you just create a mess. If you add things where there wasn't anything, you've grown the track and it feels a little bit bigger and a little bit fuller. This is an instance where we're spreading both across frequency spectrum and time. So I wanted this pre-chorus to feel a little bigger than the first one. The first one is super stripped back. Those keys in the second pre-chorus, these are filtered out with a high pass. So they're really taking up a higher register than anything else that's happening. This is a really like full synth with a lot of high end, very bright. And this is a section where we didn't really have much in the way of higher frequencies. The hi-hat is doing like 1 hit every bar. It's really nothing huge. So filling out that high space is going to take care of something that wasn't covered already. But also time-wise, the rhythm of this synth is syncopating against the drum pattern, creates a sense of fullness without making it feel messy or chaotic. I'm going to play just these synth keys and the drums together. Now with everything together.
And it's been hella lonely.
Another example of spreading out across time was this synth situation. So this actually is a Serum preset. So it's called Color Chords. I'm gonna pull up the exact like original Serum patch and you can see like there's all these LFOs are doing like super fun things. This is like a fun little pitch bend, this stutter. All of that together makes this, which I was like, oh my God, that is so fun. That's so sexy. The problem was I wanted to layer this over the hook where we have the vocal hook. Do you, or is it just me? And there was a bit of a like overload. Like it sounded good, but they were definitely stepping on each other's toes. Because we have this little pitch bend happening. And this is happening at the same time as we're hearing, do you, So it doesn't quite hit as well. Here you can see this like pitch bend now happens faster. So do you hits here. So that pitch bend is now happening at a time when nothing else is happening. And then it's actually something fun instead of something distracting and overwhelming that takes protagonism away from the vocal. So here's just vocals and that synth the way it was originally, and then I'll show you what we did to kind of address the situation.
Do you, or is it just me, just me, just me, just me?
And now we'll hear those modulations a little bit dialed in.
Do you, or is it just me, just me, just me, just me?
And finally, pillar number 4, only fill once familiar. This one's a little more loosey-goosey. It's not like a hard and fast rule. None of them are, but this is perhaps the most take with a grain of salt thing. In general, our ear is gonna be a little more comfortable with a really full and busy track if I'm already familiar with all the previous elements. It's like if you walk into a room and it like reeks of somebody's cologne. After like 20 minutes, you don't really smell it that much. It's kind of like that. After a while of having heard the same thing, once that old thing feels familiar, adding something new isn't as like, oh my God, this is overwhelming. Now the new thing is what my ear is going to latch onto, and it's not going to be as distracted by the old thing. Once you're hitting that last chorus and you want it to feel big and explosive, you can kind of get away with a little bit more fullness. Precisely because all of these elements are now familiar to the listener. In the second half of that last chorus, we're introducing this synth, which is the same sound as the synth over here, but it's doing this like new melody. But we're so familiar with this one, right? This has been the bass line the entire song, and it's been added to pretty much every chorus. So we're very familiar with the sound, and we're coming right off it. So adding this in doesn't feel like as insane anymore. And it has the added benefit that like the melody of the synth is very similar to the like it's just very like backbeat basically. So it has all these elements of familiarity that help it not feel like it's too much.
Do you ever fantasize about a comeback verse to one night, I mean maybe walk into the same bar, but have it all look good. Get to reminisce about the sex on your Tacoma's hood. Take me back to yours and say that I don't think we should, but then we do it anyway.
Those are the 4 pillars. Let me know what you thought about this new structure of video. I'm trying something new here, but I wanted to take a different approach this time. The song, it's called Do You / Just Me. It's on SoundCloud. It's here on YouTube as well. If you enjoyed it, I would appreciate a little like or whatever you can do internetly to support it. That's it, and much love. Bye.